welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
You're listening to the 12th most popular podcast for people who know that laughter is the best medicine. Unless you need antibiotics, then obviously that would be the best medicine.
Ian, my friend, welcome to Swift Off again. After you left me at the weekend to go somewhere else, but we'll come to shortly. How are you?
I'm good, Alan. I'm very, very good. Although it's funny, your boom mic is right in front of your eyes, so this is the weirdest one ever.
You know, I'd not even looked at that because I don't look at my camera. Let me move it. There we go. Was that better?
That's much. Well, actually, no, it's worse.
Because you can see my face.
I can see you now. Put it back. Put it back.
Oh, that's evil, Ian. And I missed you at weekend. After I saw you on Friday, and then I hear you went out on Sunday night partying. You know, I thought, didn't invite me along. Was you on the VIP?
No, I wasn't on the VIP. Who'd invite a kid from Lancashire to VIP?
You are, though, Mr. Fitness Racing. You are known as Mr. Fitness Racing. So, Mr.
Really
High Ups, we want to see.
I really hope I'm not. I much go with Ian. I quite like the name Ian. We'll go with that.
But before we go into the party that you attended on Sunday night, I want to know what you're drinking tonight. Are you still in recovery mode, or are you drinking?
I am so much in recovery. I even forgot to go to the fridge. Honestly, I sat down and you've just asked me, and I guess I've got water. I've got a water. I completely forgot. What show is this? Is this my show? Is this your show? What show are we recording now?
That's how hungover you still are. You don't even know what show it is, do you?
Wait a minute, are we recording?
Yes, we are recording. This is the Swift Half. You're in the pub. You're supposed to be drinking. There's going to be at least 3 listeners that are not going to be happy that you're not drinking. Mind you, they would have thought you were drinking AF anyway. So water is AF. It's close.
There's probably more alcohol in that water. I got it out of tap here in Rochdale. So,
do they still put alcohol in the water in Rochdale?
Oh, you've got to sterilise it somehow.
Bit of vodka. You can't see it then, can you?
Vodka, can't see it. So, Alan, what are you drinking? Because I presume you have remembered.
I have, yes, actually. I'm on a Stella Artois. As you know, the other week I was away at the Farmyard Jam, and I took quite a lot of beer down with me. If I'm honest, I took 54 cans. I know this because they're coming in cases of 18. I took 54 cans down with me, Ian, and they actually brought 36 of them back. So after a week of being down there, I only drank 18 cans. Or me and Jamie shared 18 cans of beer. We just didn't drink.
You just didn't drink the whole time?
Well, we had a couple. We didn't drink it all on Friday night and Saturday night because the race was on. So, no alcohol at all in that point. But we had a couple during the week. And then on the stories on Sunday, we packed most of the stuff away. We finished about 7 p.m. Everything was virtually away at 7 p.m. And we sat down. We lit the barbecue because we lit a barbecue. We sat and had something to eat. We opened up, I think it was on my 3rd can. And I was sat there in my chair. And the next thing I know, I woke up and Jamie had been inside and got a blanket and put a blanket over me. And I was fast asleep in the chair outside. So I woke up and I went, oh gosh, what time is it? He went 9 o'clock. I went, I'd only been in the chair an hour. And I went, right, I said, I'm done. I'm absolutely shot. I'm going to bed. So I went to bed and I woke up about 11 o'clock, only to walk outside to find Jamie asleep on the chair. The life of a race director. There's no after party for us.
Well, I guess there is, but it's a sleeping one.
You want sleeping parties? Bring a pillow.
Definitely bring a pillow. But can we actually talk a little bit? It's not that I'm hungover. I'm actually a little bit tired because I've been running this evening, Alan. And there is a story behind it.
Tell me the story. Why have you been running this evening?
MyZone.
MyZone? The adaptable heart rate monitor that gives you points?
It does indeed. And Alan, I discovered something this past week.
You can go into the red without going into the red.
No, I discovered that you really, really, really shouldn't leave yourself with 500 points to get in 2 days.
Why did you have to get 500 points in 2 days?
To get the monthly allowance, so to get the 1,300.
You know, I wear mine to run with purely and utterly, so I've got the heart rate monitor, which is better on breathing. But I never look at the points I get. I don't even know what points I get.
Never even look at them.
No, and I've never even looked to see if I've hit the allowances. It's just I don't know. I don't know why I haven't looked at it. I love the idea and everything else, but I think there's just too much going off. You know, with my training, I'm more looking at my heart rate to make sure that my heart's down, and I'm not that bothered about the coloured little graphs and the points at the moment.
Okay, well, I kind of am, because I got gold status. I've got 6 months in it, but if you miss a month, Alan, it goes all the way back.
Oh, and then have you got to start all over again?
You got to start from wherever you are. So in my case, you have to start at gold.
Right. Oh, and so how many points did you get today on your run, and how far did you go?
I did 4.5 and then walked it back, and I got something like 250 points, which was enough to tip me over.
Wow. So did you run yesterday? So you got 250 yesterday, 250 today?
Yeah, ran yesterday. This morning I went on a spin class this morning, and then I did a run this evening to finish it off. I had about 300 to get this morning.
Wow. When is your next race, by the way? Where are you running it next? Not training, I mean actual racing.
I have no clue. I have no clue. I'd have to check.
You're not doing ETM, I know that, are you? You're not going to ETM, you're somewhere else, aren't you?
No, I've got a wedding the weekend of ETM, so I'm not there for ETM. I guess I've just signed up for DECA in, I want to say August, maybe? July? I don't know. Yeah, I'm actually been really terrible when it comes to races this year, thinking about it.
That is absolutely miles away. What about Total Warrior? Are you going to Total Warrior and do some media, or are you coming to meet me over there?
I come and meet you. I don't think I'll actually race. What weekend's that again?
That is the first weekend in July. So I want to say the 1st of July. Might be the 1st.
Right, okay, I will check the calendar that I don't know if I have or haven't got. And yeah, if I'm free, I will let you know. Maybe go to Tough Mudder Manchester. When's that?
That's 15th. I've got 15th of July is when I'm at Manchester.
15th of July, yeah. Maybe I'll go Manchester.
That'll be my last run before the 100 miler.
The 100 milers on the 16th, yeah?
No, the 100 milers at the end of July. Talking about runs, though, have you seen what I've signed up for this week? It's on social media. It's called The Drop.
I've heard of The Drop. My good friend Ian Rollinson's done it a couple of times. That's where they just drive you out and you've got to find your way back, yeah?
Yeah. Blindfold, in a bus, take you somewhere, drop you off. Why have I never heard of this before?
You never heard of it?
No one's ever brought this to my attention. And while we were down at Farmyard, me and Jamie made a promise that we're going to do every year 2 road runs. So we've never done road runs. So we're going to do 2 runs that are a little bit different, road runs, but a little bit different. So we was looking and we found this. I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't think it's a road run.
Well, it's any run, isn't it? You can go road, off-road, however you want to get back.
Yeah, I guess. Where are they picking you up from?
So the one we've signed up for is on the 6th of January in Leeds. So somewhere in the centre of Leeds. So we know it's going to be, you're going to get mainly roads. So we know that. And then we've signed up for the 15-miler because they do 2 options, a 10-miler and a 15-miler.
But it is 15 miles as the crow flies.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's they plot out basically a circle.
Yeah.
And then they'll take you to some point on that circle.
Do they take all the runners to that point?
I think so, and they release you at 2-minute intervals.
All right, okay.
So in theory, you may or may not see some of your fellow runners, and you may or may not be able to follow them.
Well, I hope no one follows me because I'm guaranteed to get lost.
I remember, I think when Ian did it last, it was in Manchester, and they didn't really take him out that far. They kind of took him out to up near me. And the problem with up near me is once you work out where you are, it's literally one long road into Manchester. I think he might have finished 4th because he knew exactly where he was going.
I don't think I'll be. We're just going to treat it as a bit of fun, bit of a joke. 6th of April, it's going to be cold, but what's a bit of cold weather between friends.
But if you head out at 6th of April, you'll be 3 months late.
Sorry, 6th of January. I know I did say April then. I've got April on my head at minute for some reason. I don't know why. Something's happening in April.
But with it being Leeds, would you not just be better heading to Manchester?
What, and do the Manchester one?
No, I mean, even in the Leeds one, just head to Manchester. Who cares about the race? It feels like you're going to be a loser because you end up in Leeds.
Thank you. Leeds is Yorkshire. You over with you. But then again, it is Leeds, yeah. You're quite right.
Any fans in Leeds, it's an old Manchester versus Leeds thing. I do apologise. I don't mean it. I love you all, really. And they used to have one of the best brew dogs ever in Leeds, actually, Alan.
I think they've got two there now, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, they do. They have one up near the students and one on a roundabout which serves pizza. But we used to have one right in the centre. You know where all the old buildings are?
Yeah.
Used to have one there which had video games.
Oh, wow. Like them sit-downy ones, like Pac-Man and Space Invaders.
Yeah, kind of like that. I think it might have been Super Nintendo. So, maybe about 20 years older than the ones that you're thinking about and 30 years out of date.
You know what my favourite game was? I had two. Donkey Kong Jr. Yeah, I loved that game. But Paperboy with the handlebars. I used to spend all my pocket money in the arcades playing Paperboy, throwing newspapers over walls at people and dogs and things like that.
Didn't you have an actual paper round?
Yeah, I didn't actually have a paper round, but it was better in the arcade machine. I could throw newspapers at old ladies. Not that I do that, in real life. I don't do it in real life, anyway. But yeah, you threw newspapers at people and dogs and.
Yeah, that's a weird segue to something that happened to me today. So I was doing my run, and it was one of them run. I'm not even going to lie, it wasn't really a training run. My sole goal was to get my heart rate as high as possible and then get as many MEPs as possible. I wasn't trying anything other than that, than to spike my heart rate, and then I'd walk for a little bit whilst I recovered, then I'd go a bit further. I probably was doing the thing that people hate about MyZone users, but it's called MyZone, not our zone, so like me, I guess. But yeah, I was doing that and I just spiked my heart rate and I was running past this bench with this gentleman. He must have been about 70 or 80. And he just looked at me and he had a cane and he said, "Sit down for a minute." So I did.
Nice one.
So I just sat to him. He's a guy called Cliff. He sits there by the junction watching the cars go by and he was telling me he's been in court multiple times.
Why has he been in court? Don't give me some strange thing. He's thrown newspapers at the cars.
No, because he's a witness for road traffic accidents because so many, that junction's particularly bad. So he sees so many that he has to go to court and explain who did what.
Does it make a living? He could make a living from this. Sat there, accident. Okay, highest bidder. Who wants me?
Oh, trust a Yorkshireman to think like that.
Oh, mate, I'm gonna get me in a seat. We'll find out where all accidents are in Barnes and get me in a seat made now.
It was so cool because I just sat there for, I don't know, maybe a minute with him. Yeah. And my heart rate was spiked anyway. So I was earning like 4 MEPs a minute anyway. So it was great. I didn't do anything. I just sat there and milked an MEP. And it was just nice. And I'm sure I've seen him there in the past. And he's probably said something to me in the past. And because I had no plan, it was just, you know what? I'm going to sit down.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. And you probably made his day as well.
He definitely made my day. Yeah. Absolutely made my day.
Oh, I like that. Shall we go and talk a bit about OCR or racing or something? Because we've given our days out here now and what we're doing, and it's not the Alan and Ian show. It is about OCR racing. We attended High Rocks. Let's talk about High Rocks first. We usually save it till last, but we attended High Rocks at the weekend, didn't we?
We did. We went and did some media at High Rocks. You came on the Friday night, and big props to Mike Noland and Claire Simpson and Jem Morris for helping us out over the weekend. So thank you all for that. What do you think, Alan?
Ian, I'm going to say I enjoyed the whole vibe that was going off. The vibe was great. the Walker Nations, it seems to be a regular thing everywhere, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that, introducing, especially then when there were some of the nations where there's only 1 and 2 runners that were taking part. Was it Brazil? I think Brazil had 1 runner coming part, and there was somewhere like Iceland that had only got 2 or something like that. I loved that.
I was saying on the weekend, if I ever qualify, which would be a big if, I think it would involve the Spanish flu coming back and wiping out quite a few runners in my age group. I would say I'm from Antigua.
You wouldn't get away with that, mate. There's no chance with you, Antigua. Where's your dreadlocks?
I don't know what people. I could be an expat who happens to live in Antigua. I'm sure I'd get away with it. And not only that, I'd be one of the first to be called out, and I'd get my choice of the seats. It's genius.
Yeah, it would be. But no, you can't hear. No, not Antigua. No, you've got to think of something else, but not Antigua. Antarctica. Antarctica, you can get away with that.
There we go. We'll go with Antarctica.
You're more like an Antarctican than an Antiguan. Is it an Antiguan?
Yeah, I don't know, but we've probably just insulted the island of Antigua. So for our one listener in Antigua, we apologise.
We do apologise.
When you publish this, you should do #Antigua. Just see if anyone from Antigua sees it.
I'll make a note of that. #Antigua.
#Antigua. Yeah, I enjoyed it. There were improvements that could be made, but as I say to a lot of people, High Rocks are very, very good at seeing what doesn't quite work and improving on it.
Yeah.
For example, we'll get it out of the way, Alan. Wonderwall is not a song to have a sing-along to.
I heard you say this on the weekly show with Matt B. I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't know what to pick. I just thought it was all. I don't know if it was planned or not planned. I know you guys say it wasn't, but it felt planned to me. It felt like that's what they were going to do.
Well, I had a different vantage point because we plotted ourselves across the arena to get as much coverage as possible. So I was in with the other spectators on the far side from you, and it did look like a lot of activity was going on behind what you could see. So in the area where all the weights and that, it looked like a lot of activity was going on, which was why I think it wasn't planned.
Right.
But I figured it out, and our friend Graham Wells was saying that Wonderwall is very much a karaoke song, and I worked it out, Alan.
What have you worked out?
Wonderwall is a karaoke song. It's not a sing-along song.
Yeah. He does sing. Was it Faisal that sang it?
I think it was Faisal who sang it, yeah.
When that song comes on quite often, when I've been to the other IROCs, he always seems to sing that song. He knows that song. So maybe he knows the words all the way through. That's why I went with it.
I can accept that. I still think a vote would probably have been hideously inappropriate. If you're going to do an Oasis sing-along, it has to be Don't Look Back in Anger. It just has to be. So because that couldn't be, we could have picked anything. But enough with the negativity. The actual event was fantastic. It really, really was.
Absolutely amazing. The women's race, seeing Lauren Weeks set off at the pace she did. I mean, I've got Sarah and say I had Chris to win it. I went with Chris Logan. Chris looked all the way around like she wasn't really pushing herself. She looked like she was just smiling and enjoying the occasion and not really racing. And it looked like there were just 2 people racing to me, and that were Lauren and Jacoby. Everyone else looked, I'm not saying there wasn't racing, but everyone else looked like they were trying, but they were all smiling in the ladies. Did you notice that from your vantage point?
I noticed they were all smiling, but they were working hard. And I think this is where our different vantage points, because I was near the racetrack, I was like as close to them as you and me stood next to each other. So I could see the sweat and how red their myzones were. So I know they were working hard. But you are right. Lauren and Meg, like we expected it to be a 3-horse race, and then unfortunately Michaela got sick, so couldn't attend. But Lauren and Meg took off with it. Lauren knew that Meg's back half of her game is her strongest part, so Lauren needed to build a cushion up. Incredibly tactical there, because you're probably doing this too, but I was clocking them on the laps and I was using my phone to video them, which was telling me the seconds.
Yeah.
And Lauren went from 12 seconds ahead to, I want to say, about 8 seconds ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it
was nip and tuck, though, weren't it? It was nip and tuck all the way through with them. And it wasn't until literally the farmer's carry that I felt that Lauren had got a lead, because it was that close. But I don't know what happened on the farmer's carry, because Lauren went in. I know she went in first, but she came out with a bigger lead. And I didn't expect that in the farmer's carry.
The farmer's carry is one of them odd ones because of the hairpin turns when it comes to the grid. If you are not that good at shuffling your feet at the end, you can lose a lot of time.
Right.
So I'd compare it to, the ball over the shoulder.
Yeah.
If you're having to turn around and do that, it takes you longer than if you've mastered the technique of stepping forward as it goes over and then stepping back and picking it straight up.
Right. Okay.
So Lauren's obviously got the experience with the grid system. She's done it longer. And again, when I was close, I didn't really get that close to the ladies, but as I was watching the men, if you watched Hunter when he was doing the farmer's carry, he had like twinkle toes at the end.
Right.
So he was practically turning round as he was still walking forward, if that makes any sense. So he wasn't losing too much. Whereas if people got to the end, effectively stopped and turned around, I think you would lose time.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, amazing race from Lauren, well deserved. Just touching on Hunter there, was he struggling with the heat? Because I was stood near the water station. I mean, it was a masterclass from Hunter. Right from the word go, it was off. McGee, I think, followed him for the first run section, but then dropped well back. But it looked to me like Hunter was struggling with the heat because he kept coming to the water and literally pouring water over his head every lap. He
said on his video, which you should go and watch, by the way, it's quite good, his 15-minute video that he's put out, that he was really dehydrated when he finished the race.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't know if it was a heat or whether it was prep or whatever it was. He definitely admitted that the heat was getting to him. Getting back to the ladies, what I loved, Alan, was, it was a 2-horse race, but from third all the way down to about 10th or 11th, that was a race.
Yeah, definitely. Who was the girl that dropped out quite and was really struggling?
Miriam.
Oh, I really felt for her. She was struggling on the run. I think when she came into the sledge push, she really struggled with that, pushing that sledge, that last leg, and it took so much out of her. But am I right in saying she came back the following day in the doubles and smashed it?
Yeah, she did doubles the next day and overall won the ladies.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what it was. I'm sure she will. I think she's put a post up. I am sure she will probably go on a podcast in the future and explain. Although we might need to speak German to find out, because I'm not sure how good her English is. I've never been lucky enough to actually chat to her one-on-one. We've shared messages, so I don't know. But it'd be interesting to find out what it was which just caused on the day. But big props to Rebecca Mason for coming 6th overall, Team GB.
Massive. I mean, at one stage she was in. I think she was in 3rd at one stage, wasn't it? Didn't she move up to 3rd or 4th at one stage?
She may have been 4th. I will say what did not help, but what did happen is 2 of the ladies, Tara Jackson and Linda, both ran an extra lap.
Oh, I'm going to. This is probably going to be a negative, and I don't want to talk about the negatives. But I was stood right next to that timing mat. When it comes up on the board, and there was a delay. They were going over that timing mat, and they were literally, some of them were nearly halfway around the bend before it flashed up and told them that they were going into the stations.
Yeah, the athletes said that as well. That they ended up just having to manually count.
Yeah, I could see it. So, and I was watching that to see who was going to go in. And I saw, and I don't know who I saw. I want to say it was Jacoby who came in. She virtually went round the corner, but before it came up and said going in station. And I was like, oh my god, I hope she saw that.
Again, it's learning for High Rocks, perhaps because there was only 15 athletes out there. They should have moved the mat down because we usually have the mat so close because of the fact that there's so many people running. By the time you get anywhere close to the screen, you'd have missed your name.
Yeah. I was thinking there was enough room on that board for 15 names, and you have them up constantly in the same order.
That would have
With
been
numbers.
good.
Yeah.
What I did like, Alan, this year, and we might have done it previously at the Europeans, but I know in previous World Championships, you've had your lane, and that had been your lane. So if you was the first overall, that was your lane for the whole thing. So if 15th was doing well and first was doing well, they'd have all that space between them. But this time, it was literally as you came in, it gave you the lane.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I actually thought of when I was listening to you and Matt B was if the racers all had different coloured shirts on and the judges all had the same coloured shirts on as the racers. So if you were a red racer, you had a red judge, and then not that, but the crowd would be able to see better who was winning, especially if it was on the board and it was like red would be Lauren Weeks, green would be Jacoby, you know, Rebecca, whatever they were, you could actually see better because he was like, unless you knew they were all wearing the same kit. I know they've got the name on them, but they were wearing the same kit, weren't they?
That's quite true. Maybe, although this is always difficult, maybe different colour pants because the blokes lost the shirts after maybe the first lap, so it wouldn't have done much. But then again, even having the refs because you could just go for ref colour, couldn't you?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so you know, our good friend Grumpy were there. So you know, if Grumpy were looking after Hunter, say, you know, and Hunter's red, then Grumpy wearing a red shirt, and then when they came into the stations, they would know where their referee was, so they would go direct to their referee. That's my referee. This is the station I'm at. This is where I am. Maybe some, you know, maybe High Rocks listens to this. I don't know. Maybe we can send them in. I just thought it was something. It'd be good for spectators that we'd know where we're going, and maybe it cut down a little bit on the confusion of when people came in which lane they're, especially on that ski erg. It happened both men's and women's, didn't it? Where someone went further down the lane and they had to turn around and come back because there was no available ski erg.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think the grid system they used this time was really improved. So fair props to High Rocks on that. Should we briefly talk about the men? We touched about Hunter kind of dominated, but again, from second all the way to eighth was such a battle, and I was so proud of our boy Graham Halliday.
Oh, absolutely amazing! Absolutely amazing. It was a great race, that men's. The second to eighth, like you say, absolutely amazing. I mean, Alex were keeping with Hunter for the first few laps, but then he dropped and Michael came through, and then Halliday came, and it seemed to be like going backwards and forwards between all of them. Good racing. I really enjoyed it.
It was definitely a good race to watch, and I've kind of looked at some of the live stream, but I've not watched it all the way through. Yeah, I listened to bits because I was interested to see how E-Rock and Greg got, and fair play to them. They did really, really well. But I need to watch the whole race through. So I'll probably do that. And listener, if you want to do that, I believe it's on Red Bull's sports channel. So go and check that out. Alan, have you got the results by any chance?
I have, yeah. So I've got all, I'm not going to go through all the results, but I thought we could give the shout out to all the UK people, because I know you popped this on your UKHXR, and I thought it'd be good if we gave a shout to everyone who podiumed in the UK.
I completely agree. Should we go through the elite men results first?
Let's go through the elite men results first then, yeah.
So first was Hunter McIntyre.
Yep.
We then had Alex Rokovic.
Yep.
In third place, Tobias Lautvine.
Yep.
Who just edged out Ryan Kent by a nose.
Yeah. Very close.
And then Graham Halliday in fifth place.
Yep. That's pretty good, that. 10th place, Michael Sandbach, and 11th, Tom Hogan from the UK and Ireland.
Yeah, UK and Ireland. Well done to Michael. Well done to Tom. By the way, I did that off memory. Are you impressed?
I am impressed, yeah, because I haven't actually got the actual results for the elites.
Okay, so should I try and do the ladies?
Let's do it. Go on, let's go, ladies. See how good you are.
First was Lauren Weeks.
Yeah.
Then we had Meg Jacoby. Then we had, I want to say, Belle McFarlane, Vivian Tafutu, and Viola Oberlander in fifth place. And sixth place, Rebecca Mason.
Wow. Good racing. So the Americans took the title. In
the females, yes. In the males, where everyone thought it would be a whitewash,
yeah,
the Europeans bit back.
Yeah. Yeah. I did think Kent would be second, if I'm honest, behind Hunter. But good running, good racing. Shall we go through the English people then? So I'll just go through I'm not going to give the positions. I'm just going to give the shout outs to all the names and that, all the podiums. So we have got Harry Thompson, Jordan Bryant, Aaron Woodman, David Sloan, Simon Passmore, John Timms, Neil Kinder, Peter Kelly, Gary Hutchins, and Lee Holdaway. Women, Kirsty Oldham, Gemma Hurds, Annabelle Obank, Zara, if I get this, butcher this one, please excuse me, Pia Gianni, Kate Davey, Felicity Cole, Samantha Bilby, Alexandra Vargan, Karina Hagen, and Selena Duff. In the doubles, in the women's, Lucy Hack and Rosie Blount, Chiara Borg and Olivia Lukasevich. I hope I get that right. Carla Dilly, Alana Falconer. In the men, still the women, Tony Culprit, and Encarnio Casales Arande. I hope I spelled that right. Said that right, Ian?
Spartan Racer.
Yeah, I know. And I still can't get a name right. In the men's doubles, Conor Harkness, John Carlisle, Afrin Humphreys, Jonathan Putner. In the mixed doubles, Dean Hogan and Tom Hogan, Claire Myers and Gavin Hogarth. Another OCR runner there for you.
Well done. And you did get one name wrong, but I know it is Chiara Borg, not Chiara.
Oh, sorry. I always said Chiara and it's Chiara. I know it's Chiara.
You've interviewed her.
Spoke to her. I know it is. Weird.
Oh, well. But should we also give a shout out to Who's Hot presenter Becky Neal and Dassos, who did excellent on the mixed doubles. But then, what did they do the next day?
Well, as we know, it was the British Obstacle Sports time trial down at PT Barn and 100 metres of obstacles. Ian, I don't know if you've watched the footage of this. I was hooked. Big thank you to Becky and everyone else who was putting it all on Instagram. Loved it. I've shared it. We got to see the semi-finals of the men, semi-finals of the women, then the finals of the men and the women. And Becky Neal took the title for the women. And, Ian, she was absolutely... She won it. She was behind all the way until she got to the rings, which was the last obstacle before the quarter pipe. And she just flew across them. I mean, literally, I think she had wings. I don't think she touched the rings. I think she actually had wings. She was on Red Bull. Across them she went, dropped down, and then she literally got to the button just before. And I've got a name up, and I've actually forgot it now. Was in second place.
I believe it was Beth Lodge.
Beth Lodge, that's it. Yes, I knew it was. I just forgot the name because I was so excited to watch it.
And Beth Lodge is a ninja specialist, so 100 meters is her bread and butter.
I know. It was an amazing race. Ellen Wells got the third podium spot, which is another great race as well. The men's, I watched the men's finals with Tertian Smith and Jack Andrews. Oh, Ian, they demolished that course. I want to say 10 seconds. It felt like it was a 10-second run. They just leapt over everything, never touched the sides. There was a wall there. I think it was about 5-foot wall, and they just jumped it as though it was like one of them little hurdles that you see in 100-meter hurdles. It just went boom, and they were over. And I was like, oh my God. Amazing racing. I think it's got a future, this 100 meters. I think it's got a great future because as a spectator sport, it was exciting. And the exciting part that made it exciting for me, because it wasn't a time trial, it was head to head. And that made it super exciting.
I'd agree. And I do think we should see more tournaments like this. It would be quite exciting. I know we obviously have Nuts, which were one of the originators of all. That's more than 100 meters, isn't it? That's the...
Yeah, it's a short. They call it the short course, don't they?
It's a short course. But yeah, I want to see more of these kind of things because, as you say, Alan, it's definitely something that will bring people watching. Because we'll go back to High Rocks. I know there were athletes who were there, but how much better was it watching a race with 3,000 people or however many were in the arena?
Exactly. It's the atmosphere. It's the shouting, the cheering, it's the talking to people next to you. I was stood next to Dom Specchio. We were talking the whole way through, and I didn't even recognise who we were. You didn't
recognise that we spoke to him multiple times?
Yeah. The thing was just, so I was watching the racing and I was filming, and we were just passing the outcomes. Alex is coming back here, Hunter's good. Just them type of conversations that nothing amazing. And then all of a sudden I realised who we were. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's hilarious. I thought you were going to say, it was Mike Noland. I just didn't notice, Mike.
No.
So, no, well done to British Obstacle Sports. And you mentioned the female podiums. Did we read out the male podiums then?
Tertian Smith, Jack Andrews, Oliver Addy in third place. There was also a juniors race. Amelia Solomon won. Jack Andrews won the boys. In the Masters, Louise Ferryman got the gold and Chris Di Stefano got the gold for the men's Masters as well. So it's awesome. Yeah, and I loved it. I want to see more 100-meter racing.
And speaking of things you want to see more of, Alan, something that we've been predicting is the takeover of teams and OCR. And our good friend Rick Burgess is going to be doing something.
Oh, he is. And we've been talking about teams for a while, haven't we? And that, the UKOCR series has brought teams a little bit, with the help of British Obstacle Sports, brought teams a little bit to the forefront, because when you log onto the table, it's always there. The teams always come up first. But you're quite right. Raw Obstacle Team, they're starting the Lions Team Shield on August the 5th, the first competitive team event for them. Teams of 4 will take it in turns to run heats throughout the day. Each member will run at least twice, and there'll be different routes and different obstacles on each heat. You know how much it is, Ian, for a team of 4?
Got to be, 400 quid?
80 quid for a team of 4.
That's 80 quid for a team of 4.
80 quid for a team of 4. And then it says it rises to 100 quid, but that's £25 a person running. It's a bargain, that, isn't it?
If only I was better at obstacles, we could have entered a team.
Yeah, we could have. I reckon we could have a good laugh. Let's all have a trip down on August 5th. I don't know what I'm doing, but let's find out what I'm doing. I fancy a road trip somewhere.
Find out what you're doing. Otherwise, if any actual obstacle racers want to enter a team on UKOCR's behalf, we will see about sorting it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure we could do something like that. We're actually good. While we're on the subject of teams and that, Ian, I'm going to load up. So I haven't got it up, but I want to just talk about our Patreons, because we are creating his own little team of Patreons who are supporting us, Ian. And I want to give a shout out to them all. We talked about it the other week, about giving them a shout out. So I thought, shall we do it?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Alan.
So we are going to give a shout to our latest two, Ian. So we've had 2 new people this week join us, which are John Poole and Miles Lacey, our second American Patreon.
Thank you, Miles. I think he's a massive tough mudder honk.
Very much so. I actually remember interviewing him at the first ETM that you took me to.
Yes, he was there. He'd also like a pilgrimage, hadn't he?
Yeah, he'd gone everywhere. And then last week we had Michael Nolan join us and Louise Ferryman.
That'll be the power of the fitness racing podcast patches for Mike.
Which are available. There's going to be a link in the description. And then to the others that have been with us for a while, Kevin Dent, Wendy Brothers, Bryony Keys, Ben Griffin, Daniel Weston, Charlotte Malone, Gordon Cameron, Richard Willis, Paul Ellis, Martin Gemmell, Matthew Kirk, Sophia Harnaday, Michelle Carney, and our very first one with number 1, Mr. Will Chung.
To be fair, I do think that Will got the inside track and he actually joined before anyone else could do it. But we really appreciate Will. We appreciate all of the Patreons. You guys are fantastic. You help us keep the lights on. You've helped us in that. I think we almost break even now when it comes to our hosting, Alan. We're very close now, aren't we?
I think we're right on it, Ian. We're right on that cuff. So by the time Patreon take their little cut out of it, we will be breaking even, yes.
And because of that, the money that I would usually use to pay our hosting, we got new equipment.
Amazingly new equipment, which has been tested for the first time this week. And it brought us some challenges. So Alan edits and forgot that it's now records in stereo and decided that you could have one voice in your left ear and one voice in your right ear rather than monetize it.
So if you were listening to the Fitness Racing podcast in the first couple of hours after it was released, I hope you enjoyed the interview tennis.
Yeah. Because I listen to it when I'm editing it, I listen to it on my speaker. I've just got one speaker on my laptop. So I was just like listening to it on one speaker. So I didn't get the like going backwards and forwards between years. But yeah, we soon had to rectify that.
That was so funny because I was listening to it because I always get a bit self-conscious when it comes to live interviews because I do know that sometimes I'm really loud. So I always definitely listen to them back after you've done your magic. A lot of the others, I'll listen to them raw because it's fine, but I listen to them after you've done your magic. I'm always a bit self-conscious. And it was weird because the person I was interviewing was on my driver's side and it felt like I was in the passenger seat.
Oh, that would mess with my head that if I was doing that.
Absolutely did. Thankfully, because of the way I interview a lot, I allow the guests to talk as much as they need to, don't I?
Yes.
So thankfully, the vast majority, particularly of that first interview before you sorted it out, it was just the guests with me occasionally chirping in, which is kind of how Jen feels when I'm in the car. Just chirping in.
Just chirping every now and then. I like that.
So, Alan, looking at the notes,
yeah,
help me out here with this one because this one confused me.
Which one are we looking at? Number one,
Oliver. Help me out.
This is an apology. Okay. So last week we talked about Oliver and Gemma doing 30 laps of the farmyard, and he messaged me and he went, "My name's not Brown, Alan." And I went, "Yeah, I know. Why?" And apparently last week I said Oliver Brown. So apologies there, Oliver. It's Oliver Blake Fitness, not Oliver Brown Fitness. Oliver Blake Fitness.
Right. But you know his actual surname, right?
Yes. It's a lot longer than that, but I'm not going to say it off the top of my head. So I don't want to get into more trouble and get further messages saying, Alan.
It's Oliver Blake Harvey Valenda.
That's it. Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was Valenda Harvey or Harvey Valenda off the top of my head.
It was on top of you, tip of your tongue, wasn't it, Alan?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So apologies there, Oliver. Yeah, I didn't think you'd get that one, but I thought I'd put it in there. Next on the notes, let's go Scotland. Scotland Tough Mudder.
It's the Battle of the Midges this weekend.
Yes. Last week we talked about Infinity. What are they going to do with the Infinity Lap? And we now know that there is a 5K loop at obstacle 5. I think you're gonna miss out and go virtually right through, not far from the end, I believe.
I think that's kind of good because it keeps it fair, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. It's the Infinity. They've said right from the beginning they're going to have 5K loops. So yeah, you can't turn around and just change it mid-season. That would be wrong. So yeah, it's good.
Oh, well done to Tough Mudder, and well done to Will. I think you were the first of about a half dozen people to point that out to us, so you get a shout out.
Yeah. And the mystery obstacle, what do you think it is? Do you think it's Sewer Rat?
In Scotland? Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a new one called William Wallace, and you have to run a gauntlet of people with claymores. Could I get any more offensive?
Like I think it looks like Sewer Rat.
It probably is, because I'm fairly sure, if memory serves, they have probably the best sewer rat in Scotland. It's almost like Shawshanked in that you fall into a pool of water.
All right. Rather than mud.
And there is a drop, so you have to go back first. So it is like Shawshanked. So yeah, I quite like that one.
Yeah. Oh, it was I always remember the pictures at Tough Guy, because although Tough Mudder have pipes, at Tough Guy you had big thick tyres, and the very last one always hung out over the water, and you got amazing pictures because the photographers used to stand on the top of the tyres, and as you was going backwards, literally they would get the picture just as you hit the water, and it was splashing everywhere. It was some great pictures there at Tough Guy.
I think Patreon Martin Gemmell has a picture like that from the Scottish Tough Mudder. So, Martin, you will listen to this, find that picture and put it in the comments to, this show. Because, Alan, you always do a Facebook post, so I'll put it in the comments to that. It's a cool picture.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that. While we're on Tough Mudder, though, Midlands are getting sliding dirty.
Which will be cool. And I presume that's because Midlands is also ETM again this year.
Well, this is what I'm hoping for. So I'm hoping that in the middle of the night, we get to do a bit of dirty sliding.
I'm hoping in the middle of the night you do a bit of dirty climbing.
A bit of dirty climbing. You mean climbing up the other side to it first? I don't mind that.
No, I mean climbing up the structure with some ropes.
Oh, do you think you're going to put ropes? Oh, no. You're thinking reverse, aren't you? Oh, no, Ian. That would be evil.
It would be, and it'll probably end a fair few races because that would be quite tough, actually. Even with knots in the rope, that would really hurt your upper body.
Yeah, that would be. Not that. I mean, when we went up out to Kenema, the reverse, I thought that was tough. You know, literally because I'm a big bloke, I could get in the pipe, and I was literally going up so in inches. I couldn't go up any faster than going up in inches. But going up that, even with, I think it would be too risky. If you slipped off that rope, you've got to come all the way back down. Somebody stood at the bottom. You're just going to take him out like a bowling ball, aren't you?
You're probably right, sadly.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Tough Mudder's listening to this now, and I've just put that into their ear, and they've gone, "Oh yeah, we can't do that. Alan's right, health and safety." Giles is going to turn around and say, "No, it's not going to happen."
Oh, it makes it into a really good obstacle because you have to do a leapfrog as well.
They're coming back down. You're going to leap over them.
Yeah, sounds like a great idea.
But vision of that water wipeout. Do you ever watch that water wipeout with that bar that went round and they all had to leap over it as they was doing it?
Yeah, total wipeout. Yeah, I loved it. And it's a shame they should really bring that back.
Oh, it was so much fun, weren't it? It was so much fun.
Yeah. But what is coming back, Alan? Gladiators.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, I'd seen this. Is it going to be filmed in Manchester again?
No, Sheffield this time.
Oh, it's going to get filmed in Sheffield?
It is. So there's going to be whip hits and flat caps aplenty.
Oh, talking of flat caps, I've actually got a flat cap here. Do you want to see my flat cap here? This is crap for a podcast that's audio, but yeah, I've got my flat cap on now.
Listener, he honestly does have a flat cap on. But I can't wait for the new gladiators, My favourite, Alan, favourite name, E-By Gum.
You're winding me up. Are we really going to fetch gladiators into Sheffield?
Gladiators is in Sheffield, and they will have Yorkshire-sounding names. I don't think much of Pudding. I don't think he's going to be a very successful gladiator.
We have tea cakes up here as well. Or is it a bread cake? Bread cake or tea cakes?
Not sure, but we've got a terrier. He's about 4'11", but he can bite your ankles off.
And we're laking with kids?
Absolutely. They've got one called T, but he just goes on breaks all the time.
Just never around. Shirker. We call that shirkers.
Oh, dear. I wonder which parts of this the audience is thinking are real.
You almost had me on. I do think I have heard that it's coming back. I didn't know it was going to be in Sheffield, though. But they have got a big arena in Sheffield. It's empty at the moment.
I believe it is coming to Sheffield. Everything else I said may or may not be true.
Yes. What else have got on these notes? So you've put on here smaller brands. Tell me about this.
Okay, this is something I noticed because someone in the gym at the Pilates class, can I sound any more middle-aged, middle class than saying at the Pilates class?
At the Pilates class, I shall. What do they do at Pilates? What is Pilates?
It is a core strength. It's like yoga, but more for your core strength. So a lot of the movements are the same, but it's more strength-based. So I can recommend it to any runner. Honestly, it really helps with your core. It really helps with your leg strength and that kind of thing. So I can definitely recommend it. But anyway, at the Pilates class, someone was said we took on a personal trainer to run a 5K, but not an actual 5K, a 5K colour obstacle rush.
All right. Where's this at?
In Manchester. So yeah, I know we're probably thinking, personal trainer for doing a colour obstacle rush. Yeah, don't be a gatekeeper, guys. I was really pleased to hear that. One, because I think if you can get a personal trainer, you'll improve so much. And the other thing, this was someone who has no inclination to do OCR. Well, no outward inclination. Again, I'm being gatekeepery there, but I often wear a Tough Mudder t-shirt to the Pilates class. I'm not showing off. It's literally all I have when it comes to active wear that still fits because we're a generous fit. And she's never said anything about it, but she mentioned she's doing colour rush. And then I saw it because Facebook listens to you. and they're going all over the country as our inflatable colour run or something like that. And it cheered me up, Alan, because if these brands are putting money back into OCRs and reaching people who would never do an OCR, surely racing's back.
Well, you know my thoughts on this, and I'm going to touch on something else in a minute that's very, very similar. That back in the day, so back in 2018, 2019, you could do a race every weekend, and there were so many races going around, and some races were better than others. I'm not going to deny that. Some races were really good. Some races weren't so good. The prices reflect that, but there was a position for all these races, and yeah, sometimes they stepped on toes. The big races was the worst one that stepping on toes. You might find a Tough Mudder was on the same time as a Rock Solid or something like that. But there was always room for the smaller races. You had when you had your Ram Run, your Reaper, your Mud, Sweat and Beers, your Scorpion Run, all of these great little events that were coming up. And while it did, it got more and more people involved in OCR. Some came, some went, some came, some stayed. But the more events there were, the bigger the market was because the name was out there more often. At the minute, we haven't got that many events in OCR, So it's highly unlikely you can go to your running club now on a Monday and say, what did you do on weekend? They're all going to say, I did a road run. I did a trail run. Where you might have got before one person saying, oh, I did an OCR this weekend. And there was always that one person. It was always a different person usually. But one person would say, I did an OCR. You're not getting it because there's just not enough races at the minute. And that's what we want. We need more races. We need more media coverage. We need more everything OCR. The more there is, the bigger we're going to become again.
I completely agree, Alan. And the thing that really cheered me up about this Pilates incident was the other ladies in the class were like, oh, that sounds proper cool. I'm going to look it up.
Exactly. That's what it's about. We talked about OCR games of the week, didn't we? And I'm glad that went ahead and still went ahead, even if it had low numbers, because it means that it brought other people. And a lot of them people who were at OCR games were not from us.
I completely agree, Alan. I seem to be agreeing a lot with you.
Yeah.
Then again, we tend to agree. But they even name-checked Tough Mudder in it, and they were like, oh, no, I couldn't do one of them. But maybe one day we will.
Yeah.
And again, I should point out, I was wearing a Tough Mudder t-shirt at this point. No one mentioned anything. As you can see, I'm the most popular person in the class. Yeah, hiding in the corner.
Did you not go over and say, you should do a Tough Mudder?
Nah, I still feel a bit awkward because I am the only man in the class. They've accepted me. They treat me, but I am an outsider, and I'm okay with that. I'm happily okay with that. They're very pleasant to me. They'll chat and very pleasant. But let's just say I'm not going to be invited to girls' night anytime soon.
No. I was going to mention about things starting back up again in OCR. I've noticed there's a few more podcasts that are coming back that have not recorded in a while. So OCR Talk recorded the other week. They've not been with us for nearly 2 years, I believe.
Like OCR Talk?
Yeah.
Wow.
They started back up.
There was a new one that launched as well, wasn't there? That I think Will pointed out to us. And I can't remember for a lot.
There is a new one that's about to. I don't know if it's launched yet. So I hope I'm not going to break this news. I hope I'm not allowed to. I'm going to say it. I hope I'm not, because I'm excited because I've listened to a preview episode. So I was sent this last week a preview episode of a new podcast, and I was asked for my opinion on what I thought about it. And it's all about taking responsibility, being accountable. And it's from 3 really good OCR runners. So the host is Darren Martin, and there is Morgan Maxwell, and there's Chris Shipley. And I was very interested in it. It's a great little podcast. Their first episode is far better than the first one we ever put out. Can't be hard to do, but they actually do make a much, much better job than what we do. And yeah, I can't wait for it to come out.
Put out dead air. It's not particularly a very good compliment. We could put an hour of dead air and it'd be better than Swift Half #1. How we've managed to get to Swift Half 100 and odd at this stage. So, but that is a good sign, Alan, that we're getting more. And let me just see if I can find, because that wasn't the one I was thinking of. Although we do get I presume we get 33% of the proceeds if we release Chris from his Who's Hot contract. Did we negotiate something?
Chris is not getting released. Chris is staying with Who's Hot. He's just starting up another podcast, which I think is absolutely amazing. I think it's great. It's great that we're doing all these podcasts.
So he's not been released.
It's not on our platform either. This is not on our platform. This is on their own. They're starting up completely different, which is good as well.
But we do get royalties, yeah?
I'll ask, but I think the answer is going to be no. What's the one that you've seen?
I'm trying to find it. Will sent it to us, and I can't find it for some strange reason. I want to say it was started by someone from Team Grit called Megan, and I can't remember what it was called. It looked like a female-led podcast, and I was intrigued because there's not enough female podcasters out there. We used to have Heather Brody of Overcome and Run. Oh, Talking Dirty OCR.
Oh, Talking Dirty, yeah. Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
I'm not sure if they've put anything out yet. They've done 3 posts so far on their Instagram page. The last one was May 17th, but fingers crossed they will be out soon. Let's just get up the podcast machine and have a look, Alan. So Talking Dirty, riveting stuff this. You're more than welcome, listener.
Is it talking as in K-I-N or talking as in how you would proper spell it?
Proper spelling. It's Talking Dirty OCR. Be careful when you're putting this into your Google machine, guys. That's all I'll say. No, it doesn't look like anything's been released yet, but good luck to them. Fingers crossed they have something out soon.
Yeah. People coming back, absolutely. Let's get races back. Maybe we might see Mud 7 come back one day.
Might see Mud 7. Do you think we'll ever see Mud School back?
I would like to think they would, but my honest opinion is I don't think it will. I think it's been gone quite a while now, and a lot of the people that were in, even the Mustical group is not active. So I think a lot of people have moved on. Was it who was the guy who took off after Pete Reese? I forgot his name now. Is it Jacobs?
Something like that.
I know he's moved into ultra running. He's very much into the ultra run. And moved out of OCR completely, from my understanding. So I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe someone might take the mantle. The more people that are doing it, the better it is. I've said this all along, Ian. Do it, enjoy it. Let's talk about OCR constantly.
And if we can ever help, let us know. We've definitely helped a lot in the fitness racing world where we can, Alan.
Yeah,
and we'll help out any podcast. Sounds like you're already doing it for a 75% cut of Chris Shipley's pay.
75% cut would equate to exactly what we're paying, which is 75% of nothing.
Well,
it doesn't even get early listens.
He doesn't even get early listens. You're mean.
Yeah, no. There's no special privileges here.
Oh dear, and that's the end of our catalogue of shows. I think the last thing on it was talking about after parties.
After parties, Scotland this coming weekend. You was at High Rocks. We touched on it quite early on. How many was at the after party at High Rocks?
It was packed. It was initially uncomfortably packed, but only for about, I'd say, maybe half an hour, and then they opened up downstairs, so which was a plan all along. And once downstairs was open, it was comfy enough. You had enough room to dance, to drink. The bars were a little bit easier to get to. Yeah, and yes, I did dance. Well, I guess like my OCR running, it's rude to call what I do OCR. It's rude to say what I was doing was dancing, but it was a lot of fun. And big shout out to Mike Nolan for buying us a Jaeger.
Well, Mike travelled all the way from London to buy you a Jaeger.
That was obviously his purpose at the weekend, not to do an excellent job on the media coverage or judging. And let's give a massive shout out to the army of judges and volunteers and High Rock staff. It was a massive, massive event. And a few of them were talking about, it's going to be a quiet day. Alan, on Saturday, which you missed, it wasn't quiet. It was not quiet.
I didn't expect it to be. I mean, it was fairly busy on Friday night, which I thought was good. I just thought Saturday would have been rammed and that.
So, Alan, have we got any more notes before we let the listener get on with their weekend?
No, we haven't. We haven't got nothing left on the notes except Barnsley lost on Monday. But that's Barnsley for you.
Speaking of Mondays, this coming Monday, listener, is not a bank holiday. So if you do work 9 to 5, make sure you do go into the office or you might lose your job. And then you can become a Patreon.
And on that note, Ian, if there's nothing left, it's down to you.
I will say it's goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me, everyone. You take care. We'll love you all. Bye.